all here, back together again in a different place.
+1.
Yeah, that's true, too. I'm Steve West. That's Matt Nicholson.
Hello.
Producer John is on CRN Live on YouTube. Producer John Bird is the newest addition to the gang. He is covering us from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. on our new flagship station, which you can see right over my shoulder there, or over Matt's shoulder if you choose. Yeah, we've moved. We're in Birmingham now. Talk 99.5. Appreciate everybody here at Cumulus Media Birmingham and Talk 99.5 specifically for putting up with us and allowing us to actually take over and ruin the airways for 2 hours. We do appreciate it. We need to probably do, I don't know, an introduction?
Sure.
You know, just for the new people. I mean, last time we talked, and I would say last time we talked, but the last time we talked was 2 weeks ago before Barber Motorsports Park. And a lot of the people that are on CRN Live on YouTube, we appreciate all them sticking with us through weeks off that we take. We took last weekend off from doing the show because you and I were out at Barber Motorsports Park taking in the Indycar race and all the other races at Barber. It was a great weekend out there. The weather was great, except for that Sunday afternoon. I don't know whether it was a controlled fire or a wildfire, but woof.
It was definitely something.
Man, the smoke moved in the afternoon.
Yeah, it did.
Phew. But otherwise, beautiful weekend, great racing out there as well, and Barber just constantly puts on a great show. So for those of you that don't know us, as we introduce ourselves back into the Birmingham market, this little show has grown into this 2-hour racing love fest, basically. From a little 15-minute show that I used to do on a Saturday afternoon, and then it grew into an hour show, and I got a co-host, and then we started talking to local drivers here, and that's where Matt came in. He was a driver over at that time regularly, weekly, out at Talladega Short Track.
Yep.
And apparently you got bitten by the radio bug.
Well, yeah, just a little bit. All stemmed from just a simple, I think it was a contact through social media about the All-Star race. It was in Charlotte that year. And the rest is history.
Yeah. Yep. And he's been here ever since. And
yep.
God help him, he's bitten by the radio bug. So we started off by talking about NASCAR, and really it was a NASCAR-specific show. And that's fine and dandy to a certain extent, but the thing is there's a whole lot of other shows that do NASCAR very, very well. You got Motor Racing Network and the Performance Racing Network, the two main radio networks that cover NASCAR races, and they do shows. So we weren't really covering any majorly new ground there. Yeah, we were doing it in a different way. And then one day we had somebody call us up and ask us if we might consider talking about Formula One. And I thought, well, if we're going to talk Formula One, we probably ought to talk IndyCar. So we added those two. And then all of a sudden the NHRA started popping up and thought, yeah, probably ought to do that too. So we picked up the NHRA. And then we had this little weird curiosity called Formula E, this all-electric racing series, which we had a blast talking about at the beginning because I watched the first race just out of an almost morbid curiosity.
Right.
And it was on Fox Sports at that time, and Fox Sports really didn't know what to think about an all-electric series, so they had a music bed under the entire race.
I still don't.
And
I still don't.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, it's a curiosity, but we've been covering it, and it's in its 13th year, so we'll keep covering it. We added the IHRA, which suddenly became this big thing now that Darrell Cuttle got a whole bunch of money from Elon Musk and doing work with him, and he's trying to get that drag racing series going. And for a while, we were talking the Superstar Racing Experience, the old SRX series. Yep. Tony Stewart and Ray Evernham began that, and then it went away right about the time that Ray Evernham decided to revive the old IROC series.
Yeah, it did.
So we picked up the IROC series, too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we cover NASCAR's top 3 series. We'll talk about ARCA from time to time. Formula One, Formula E, IndyCar, IHRA, NHRA, and the IROC series. Am I missing anything?
No.
All right.
That's pretty well gets it covered.
So now that you got that, let's get into it, shall we? 2 weeks here, so let's get updated on everything that's gone on. I'm not going to go race recaps this time because it would just be too much to talk about. Let's just get you set up. We'll talk about the Craftsman Truck Series here in a minute because they raced last night. So we'll give you the full rundown on all that stuff last night. So we'll come back to them. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, where a dozen drivers make the chase. Right now, points led by Justin Allgaier. And I'm here to tell you, he's looking sharp, man. But
yeah,
here's the thing. Sharp early in the season doesn't necessarily translate to sharp at the end of the season.
That is true.
So we'll see. Jesse Love, second. Sheldon Creed, third. Sheldon Creed was the guy, and actually still is the guy, who holds the record for the most second-place finishes without getting a win until he finally got his win just earlier on this year.
Atlanta, yep.
Yep, he's third in points. Austin Hill, fourth. Carson Quapple, Sammy Smith, Corey Day, Brandon Jones, Parker Retzlaff, Rajah Caruth, Sam Mayer, and Taylor Gray. Taylor Gray, 20 points up on Anthony Fast Pasta Alfredo for that final chase slot in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Switching to Formula E, Pascal Wehrlein leads the way over Eduardo Mortara, Mitch Evans, Antonio Felix DaCosta, Nick Cassidy. Team-wise, Porsche leads Jaguar TCS by a slim 4, and then everybody else is kind of running for third or worse. Mahindra, Envision, Citroën. Yeah, the French automaker is racing in Formula E. Nissan, Andretti Global, Cooper Kiro, DS Penske, Lola, Yamaha. As for the manufacturers, the guys that build basically the batteries that go into all these cars, Porsche leads that over Jaguar. Stellantis, which actually has two brands running, Citroën and DS, are both under the Stellantis run. Mahindra, Nissan, and then Lola. To the IHRA, they just barely got their season going, and over the course of time, you might note that there are actually drivers that will cross over from the IHRA to the NHRA. For example, Gary Pritchett leads in Top Fuel over Jasmine Salinas. Salinas is going to run both IHRA and NHRA this year. Scott Palmer, Lee Calloway, Spencer Massey, all in the top 5. Funny Car, Dale Creasy Jr. is on top over Terry Haddock. Del Worsham, who will run an occasional NHRA event too. John Smith and Jacob McNeil. To the NHRA's Top Fuel division, Doug Kalitta's leader in Top Fuel. Josh Hart, Sean Langdon, Leah Pruitt, Madison Gordon, the rookie. Top 5 in points already.
She's been impressive so far.
She has. I mean, if you think about some of the names that she's beating out, I looked down, and the first name that popped out to me is a guy who's been filling in for Leah over the last couple of years, and that's her husband, Tony Stewart. He's sitting in 6th behind the rookie.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, Maddie, she's knocked off some pretty solid names in some round wins.
From what I understand, she's got a pretty good fan base building too.
So far, yeah.
There you go. Hopefully she can keep that up. Funny Car leader Chad Green up on Spencer Hyde, Ron Capps, J.R. Todd, Matt Hagan. Pro Stock Car led by Dallas Glenn, followed by Matt Hartford, Cody Coughlin, Greg Anderson, Erica Enders, and Pro Stock Motorcycle Richard Gadsden showing the way over John Hall, Clayton Howie, Birmingham's own Stevie Johnson, and Matt Smith. Notice there's a name that we haven't mentioned there. Where's Gage Herrera? The guy who dominated this series for 2 straight years.
Yeah, he's off to a slow start.
Man won everything under the sun. He has started off to a slow run. Formula One got Kimi Antonelli the points lead over his Mercedes teammate, George Russell. Ferrari twins of Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Lando Norris, then Oscar Piastri for McLaren. Then you got the Haas F1 driver, Ollie Behrman. He's in 6th. No Max Verstappen. Yeah. Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Trust me. The Constructors' Cup, Mercedes is over Ferrari. McLaren's 3rd. Haas F1 is 4th. Alpine is 5th. Oh, there's Red Bull in 6th. Huh. Racing Bulls, Audi, Williams, and then the 2 teams that have yet to score a point in alphabetical order, Aston Martin and Cadillac. Cadillac's actually outperforming Aston Martin. We'll talk about that later in the show, too. And after the dominating performance at Barber last week by Alex Palou, Kyle Kirkwood does maintain the IndyCar points lead, but he's only up 2 over Palou. Then you got Christian Lundgaard, David Malukas, and Joseph Newgarden. As far as the rookies are concerned, Dennis Hauger leads the rookie points over Kyle Collette. Mick Schumacher, Honda leads Chevrolet in the Manufacturers' Championship battle. And then that brings us to the Cup Series. 16 drivers and all going to make the chase there. And Tyler Reddick, who has begun 2026 on a heater, he has won 4 of the 6.
Yes, 4.
7.
Yeah, 4
of the 7 races. This year's going by so quick. He's won 4 of the 7 races so far this year. He's got a big lead over Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and Chase Elliott off of his win at Martinsville. He's in the top 5. Then you got William Byron. Ty Gibbs, solid if unspectacular at the early part of the year. Christopher Bell, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Ryan Preece, Shane Van Gisbergen, who is, watch out, boys and girls, not just a road course ace anymore. He's starting to get this oval thing. Somebody gave him a tip for Martinsville, said, drive it like a road course. He went, oh, really? Hadn't thought about that. Boom. Watch out for Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yep.
Carson Hocevar, Daniel Suarez round out the top 16. Suarez 9 points over Michael McDowell. Michael Schumacher? Sorry about that. For the final chase slide. So last night, the abbreviated schedule for this weekend last night, Rockingham Speedway. I'm so glad they're back on the schedule. As seen on Fox Sports 1, NASCAR Racing Network did the radio call. Black's Tire 200 at Craftsman Truck Series. Matt, quick overview. What kind of transpired?
And one of the more intriguing finishes I've seen in quite a while, when you have a teammate that is a lap down, that is interfering in between two teammates fighting for a win. Think about that for a minute now.
Yeah.
Corey Heim ended up winning the race because he had the preferred lane on the bottom. He had the preferred lane on the bottom because Tanner Gray, which needs to be taken out back in the shop and lashed, in my opinion, interfered with the lanes and didn't let them go and held up Caden Honeycutt, which Caden Honeycutt was leading on the white flag lap. Corey Heim was your winner. Caden Honeycutt second. Lane Riggs third. Stuart Friesen fourth. Alabama's Grant Enfinger in fifth. Tyler Ingram sixth. Corey LaJoy got Rams' first top 10 with a seventh.
There you go.
Ty Majeski eighth. Jake Garcia ninth. And Cole Butcher in 10th. We did have a disqualification.
Uh-oh.
Chandler Smith was DQ'd out of the top 10 because of a ride height violation. So, with an intriguing situation here, we now have a new points leader that has missed 2 races. Corey Heim.
Yeah, strangely enough, tied with Caden Honeycutt up there. Lane Riggs, Ty Majeski, Gio Ruggiero, Christian Eckes, Ben Rhodes, Stuart Friesen, Justin Haley would make up the rest of the top 10. I'm not exactly sure where Chandler Smith falls in the new rundown because I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, I didn't. I just went out of it right there.
Yeah, but I mean, you want to talk about hurting in a big way. Chandler Smith stumbling over himself, and it is interesting. He noted Corey LaJoy getting the first top 10 for Ram as they come back into the Truck Series this year for the first time since 2013.
Yes.
Justin Haley is sitting, as I mentioned, 10th in points according to what I got here. 1 point over Tyler Ankrum for that final chase slot in the Truck Series, which would have a Ram in the playoffs or in the chase right now.
Right.
We'll see how that goes. And then it's Corey LaJoy, and Corey LaJoy was slated to run this race as kind of a one-off for Ram.
Yep.
Yeah, that circumstance changed big time when it came to it, and we're actually going to lead off that. And this is something that our regular producer John on CRN Live on YouTube, kind of had us thinking about, because we were just kind of doing a base pattern, and sometimes that meant we buried the biggest story, because the biggest story can change from one series to another. So producer John said, why don't we just take the biggest story of the week and put that as the lead regardless of what series? So that is how we're going to do it here. But first, later today, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, they're racing at Rockingham Speedway in the North Carolina Education Lottery 250 presented by Black's Tire. I'm getting the funny feeling the CW people or the MRN people are not going to say that whole thing.
I don't think so either.
But that said, it'll be on MRN Radio or CW Network, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central Time. Something else I'll let you know about our show. The times that we give you, that does not include pre-race. That's just when race coverage begins, because radio and TV tend to do things a little bit differently, and I'm not going to overload you with all that stuff. So that's it. All the other series which we cover are off this weekend because it is Easter weekend. Friday afternoon, the IROC Series will be in action in North Carolina at 1010's Motor Club. We'll get back to that coming up a little bit later on. And, of course, next week we'll give you a full schedule.
There is actually a doubleheader at Rockingham today. The ARCA East Series is running 125 lapper today as well.
There you go. And if I remember right, Cletus McFarland is in that.
And his buddy George as well. They're both in the race.
All right, then.
Both driving for Rhett Jones.
Is that who's got that? Flow Racing or something?
Yes, Flow Racing and the NASCAR channel on YouTube, I think.
There you go. All right, so for John Bird, who is still getting used to everything, let's go ahead and roll that first break, sir. And when we come back here on the Championship Racing Network, we are going to get you set up with the biggest news of the week, which does come out of the Craftsman Truck Series. That's next. I do the same thing, and Richard calls me out in the morning, so it's all the same thing. Appreciate you joining us on both places or all the places, whether it's Talk 99.5, Real Talk 99.5 TV on YouTube, or our own CRN Live on YouTube. We do appreciate it. And there are differences between the two. We have a producer, John, over there, John Myers, who is adding some things to it, some pictures that we are not allowed to put up on the Talk 99.5 YouTube feed that kind of give a little bit more to some of the things to the people that are checking things out over there. But before we get any further, we want to thank some people who jumped on with us here real early and real quick as some great sponsors. One of them is Cat and Bird Winery down in Chelsea. Matt and all the ladies that are down there, and Mike, we can't appreciate them enough for jumping on board. And if you're looking for kind of a really cool place to go on a Saturday afternoon, they're generally open every single Saturday afternoon from noon to 6. Today, a little different. Easter weekend, they're doing an Easter brunch today. They're opening at 11 a.m. So they'll be open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. today. Got an outside pavilion area, which is great for just going out there and just relaxing. Generally have some musicians come out and play there on Saturday afternoons as well. Food trucks, in addition to the brunch that's going on today. So all kinds of great stuff constantly out there. Fine selection of wines that come from all around the world, but they are done in the vats right there at Cat and Bird Winery. They just get the grapes in, and they do it on site. They also have some local crafted beers, and they just started doing what they call wine slushies not that long ago as well. So if you start to get a little hot, you can cool right off. So it's real fun. And yeah, you can take the family out there. Obviously, got to be 21 to drink and be responsible about it, please. But Cat and Bird Winery, if you have not checked them out, please do. 11661 Old Highway 280 in Chelsea. Matt and the gang out there, thank them so much for being a sponsor here of the Championship Racing Network. And if you happen to have a company and you think it might be a good avenue for you, let us know. Get a hold of us. Team at crnradio.us is a way to do it. Or if you happen to call up here, by the way, we can take phone calls.
That we can.
It's been a while since we've been able to do that. 205-545-9950, and let John Bird know your company and a contact for you, and either Matt or I will get back in touch with you, and we'll set some things up. So
sure.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And again, if you want to just talk a little bit of racing, 205-545-9950. We'll take phone calls starting now. Who knew we could do that? But yeah, and arguably, because big news comes out of each and every series.
Right.
You just kind of got to go, what do we think is the biggest news story of the day, right? What we think is the biggest news story of this week anyway, Craftsman Truck Series, where NASCAR reinstated Daniel Dye. And you think, well, wait a minute, why did he have to be reinstated? For those of you that are new to the show, Daniel Dye got onto a podcast not that long ago, and during that podcast, he made some, let's just say, questionable comments about IndyCar Series driver David Malukas, kind of questioning his sexuality, things like that. And it led both his team, Cowlick Racing, which he was driving the number 10 Ram for them in the Craftsman Truck Series, to suspend him. And then NASCAR followed suit and said that Dye needed to go through sensitivity training. Well, Dye has successfully completed such training. NASCAR reinstated him on Tuesday of this week. Right about the time he got his reinstatement, Dye said, Cowlick, I quit. For all intents and purposes. Effective immediately. Starting to seek another ride, as he said.
I think at the end of the day, he knew that Ram and Cowlick wasn't going to let him back in because of how it happened.
Yeah.
And what happened. So probably the best move on his part.
And here's the thing, and whether it's a YouTube video or a Facebook Live video or an Instagram picture or whatever, some post somewhere or video somewhere that shows up on the internet, if there's any kind of question whatsoever, it's forever. And somebody's going to get offended. We are in this world where everybody takes offense at everything at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, yep. That they do.
So what may have been meant in jest, unfortunately, gets taken the wrong way by too many people. And and this is the new world that we live in. We don't have to like it, but it's the truth.
It's unfortunate, but you're right.
So he's now looking for another ride. This is the latest move by Daniel Dye, which is causing him It's causing him to basically submarine his own career.
Well, a few years ago when he was under the age of 18, really,
Yeah.
he nearly submarined his own career when he was in high school driving an ARCA for GMS at the time. Remember those name kids? And he, how do I word this? He kicked another male classmate south of the equator.
Yeah.
And caused some physical harm.
Actually, major physical harm.
Major physical harm. And he had to go through sensitivity training or whatever, or he got suspended for a while.
Aggression?
I don't know what it was. I can't remember what it was.
Either way, yeah, he had to go through a training previously.
Yeah, and then he got reinstated. You would have thought that he would have learned his lesson by then. No,
apparently not. So anyway, he said of his the whole decision, quote, "I'm incredibly thankful for my time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and for the chance to compete with Kaulig Racing alongside some of the most passionate fans of motorsports. At this time, I'm stepping away from that role. NASCAR's played a meaningful role in my development, and I don't take that opportunity lightly. After a lot of honest self-reflection and guidance from mentors that I trust, I've decided that the smartest move for my career is to realign my focus on my long-term objective of becoming a successful driver at the highest level of stock car racing. Now that I'm reinstated, I'm optimistic about what the future holds. Look forward to working hard at my next opportunity. The sport and its fans mean everything to me, and I can't wait to get back to it, focused on the real goal more than ever." I don't know who's going to give him a ride. He may have to drop back down to the ARCA series at some way, shape, or form, truth be told. Because really all the seats in the truck series are taken.
The full-time ones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
With the exception of a couple of the, like maybe a Rayom truck. Who else? Well, really the Rayom trucks.
Yeah. I mean, he might pick up a one-off right here or there.
I mean, he's supposedly still foreshadowing. Supposedly still got that ride that he has with AM, the part-time schedule with AM Racing in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Yeah,
but
that's another story that we're going to get to later
definitely another story. But I mean, right now, about the only option you got is ARCA.
Yeah,
I mean, that really is it.
And then there's Kaulig, who stated that yes, they're going to take the resignation, and they moved on pretty quick. And he mentioned Corey LaJoie picking up their first top 10. Drove that truck last night at Rockingham. He has been tabbed. He'll fill in that 10 truck for the remainder of the season. He was already, as I hinted to, slated to drive the 25 truck last night, kind of their star truck. Instead, he took over the 10, and to fill in the 25, they pulled in Ty Dillon. Who did nothing in the truck series last year.
He's still doing nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I've said it on our platforms before. I'm not the biggest advocate of Corey LaJoie. Really never have been. But from an experience standpoint and Kaulig trying to get this Ram program off the ground, him alongside of Justin Haley, they needed more than one veteran experience level in that fold. Now adding him into that on a consistent weekly basis, I think will pick their overall program up.
Let me ask you this. And because this is going to take a waiver. Daniel Dye gets suspended, ends up being let go. Corey LaJoie comes in. He's going to be the guy for the rest of the year. If he can continue to do what he's doing, which is just rack up top 10 after top 10, points will come relatively easy.
I think he will get a
waiver from NASCAR if he becomes eligible for the chase.
Well, yeah, because the only races he has missed so far is St. Petersburg and Atlanta.
Yeah.
He ran Daytona for Henderson Motorsports. So that's the only ones he's missed. So I think he probably will get the waiver as a fill-in because he shifted his points from Cup to Truck.
Yeah.
So he probably will.
Okay. We haven't heard that Kaulig is requesting that, but at this point in time, it makes sense.
I'm sure they probably already have.
And we just haven't heard the results yet. But it just makes sense because if he's going to be the person in that 10 truck for the rest of the year full time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he makes a debut like that at a Rockingham, which is not the easiest track to drive.
No.
That's a good start.
It is a good start. And what it does is now it frees up. I see it since we're on Truck Series stuff. It come out late last night. Now it frees up that 25 truck to be served for the purpose that it originally was served for. The free agent truck, the all-star truck, that would be on a weekly rotating basis instead of having the same driver run multiple races. The runner-up that was in the Ram Race for Seat competition, Carson Ferguson, he will get the start at Bristol next week.
Ooh,
in
throw
the
him into
Chrysler
the
Truck
fire.
Series.
Dang.
I think people are going to be surprised by him.
Okay. You think he's good enough to be able to withstand the fire that is Bristol?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he's going to be fine.
That's not the easiest track to debut on. Let's face it.
Knowing how he competes on the he's really not a national late model series driver on the dirt late model series. He's really more of a Southeast regional driver because he runs for Donald Bratcher and the Longhorn chassis. But he's pretty stout.
Okay. Looking forward to seeing that. To the Cup Series here, where Denny Hamlin, you want to talk about a guy who's changed. About this time last year, this guy was the ultimate enemy. You know, if you go back to the old Westerns of yesteryear, he was the guy wearing the black hat. He was the guy everybody loved to boo, and they booed him heartily during driver introductions. And God forbid if he should win a race, man, the boos just rained down, and he soaked it in and had a great time. And then late in the year, we found out his dad was having health problems, and people kind of felt a little bit sorry for him. And then we saw what happened with the heartbreak in the championship race last year at Phoenix. And suddenly everybody's kind of changed their mind about Denny Hamlin between that and losing his father to a house fire and his mother being severely injured to it as well. But Denny Hamlin, all things being equal, black hat, white hat, doesn't matter to him. He doesn't have a problem expressing his opinion, and he did. He's got a Dirty Mo Media, Dale Earnhardt Jr., produced podcast called Conduct Unbecoming. And on his most recent one, he talked about last Sunday's race at Martinsville, and he echoed something that both Matt and I, you and I have been harping on this for quite some time. And, you know, we go out to Talladega the 2 times a year that we're there. We've been to other series, whether it's in the PA booth or in the press box, and we're looking at each other and going, how much longer are we going to keep this thing under caution? Yeah, and we understand there are media deals here. There's the radio media deal, whether it's MRN or PRN, and then there's the TV media deal, whether you kick off with Fox or you go to Amazon Prime, TNT, or wrap it up with the NBC Sports side of things. There are things that those networks have to do. They have to get in their commercial breaks, right? We get that. But at some point in time, the length of these caution flag periods is going to have to be reined in because they have gotten stupidly long.
There was no need. It was in between stage 1 and stage 2 last Sunday. There was absolutely, under no circumstances, no need for an 18-lap caution in the stage break.
No.
Yes, I just said 18 laps. That is ridiculous.
Okay. If you're watching us on either of the YouTube feeds, Real Talk 99.5 or CRN Live, you notice that there are 2 boxes right there. One's got Matt's picture, one's got mine. Sometimes there's a third picture if you're on CRN Live, and that's John putting up an image that, you know, we wanted to put up. That's possible. Not only is it possible, we've seen them do it. They do it during live green flag coverage, and they're going to go to a commercial break during live green flag coverage of a race.
Yep.
Can we not do something like that all the time, boys and girls? Okay, I say all the time. For Fox and TBS TNT and for NBC, there are the local affiliates or the local cable company that has to do it. Amazon Prime doesn't have to worry about that, obviously. But there are only 5 races. So you're not necessarily going to be able to do, boxes side by side when you go to local commercial. But if it's a network commercial, you can't tell me you couldn't put the commercials in one box and keep the coverage in the other. You can't tell me that.
You can. It can be done. It's been shown that it can be done.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, what it's evolved to, the television and media contracts have absolutely taken over everything within the actual sport itself.
To an extent, they almost have too much power.
Way too much.
Yeah. Hamlin talked about Fox, and some of the other TV partners on the podcast said, quote, apparently what's happening is Fox feels that they need to see the pit stops. So the end of the stage break happens, green checkered, stage break flag, and boom, we're under caution. Pace car comes out, they catch us, we're under commercial. We are going to get our commercials in, so they go get them in, all 5 minutes of it, seems like a while. Then they open pit road, then we get back out, then they do a reset. Oh, by the way, it's another commercial break. Then we got to line up. It's just too long. So you offered up the same solution that I just gave you. Can we get a side-by-side commercials and race for the pit stops maybe? Or when you come back from the commercials, just do a recap because we're running too long under caution. We have to find a way to shorten them up. We won't shorten them up as long as we're doing what we're doing. So, okay, well, you just have to shorten your commercials or something because we're under caution too long. Okay, well, if you shorten the commercial break, that just means that you're charging more for the commercials. Right. Because they're going to get their money back. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year to get the rights to NASCAR, whether it's Fox or NBC or TNT, it doesn't matter. So they got to make that money up. So they're either going to put in as many commercials as they can into a commercial break, or they're going to charge a boatload more for those commercials. So there's a conundrum there, and I get that. But I agree with him. There's got to be somewhere where there's a happy medium, where we can get in this coverage. I mean, every once in a while you see something dramatic in a pit stop, but do we really need to cover the pit stops live like that?
Outside of the top five, no.
I mean,
we have 35th place BJ McLeod. We're going to check if 4 tires, fuel, he's off.
Yeah.
No, you do the top 5 and let it go.
Let's talk about it like you and I, as we have done many, many times. Let's put us in the cars here. You're running first, I'm running second, but you're pulling away from me, and I can't do anything about it.
Right.
I'm going to come into the pits. You come back from the commercial break. Jamie Little happens to cover his pit stall. Jamie Little says, Matt Nicholson came in, got 4 tires, full tank of gas, no changes to the car. Pick another pit reporter. Reagan Smith is covering my pit stall. I come in. I get 4 tires, a tank of gas, but they're making changes. They're putting wedge into the car, whatever it is.
Taking rounds out of the left rear, putting rounds into the right rear, making the car drive better.
That kind of stuff can be done in a recap before they drop the green flag and he takes off and leaves me in the dust again. Because that's probably what's going to happen, truth be told. But that you can recap that stuff.
Oh, yeah,
okay?
You can.
I mean, you're right. 4 tires and a tank of gas. And Matt's off, no changes made. Wow, thanks for the breaking news. We can do that in a recap. Why don't we?
Everybody turns on the television, their television dial or to the channel or however they watch it, whether it's through the television or watching it through streaming. They go there for a reason to watch green flag competition, not pit stops and caution laps.
Yeah. And if you're spending, I'll just throw out a number. Let's say an average ticket price is $100. John, let's go ahead and get ready to go to break here. If you're spending an average of $100 per ticket, maybe it's more, maybe it's a little less. If you're spending that money, you want to see as many green flag laps as you can.
For sure.
So why don't we try and do that a lot more?
For sure.
That's the thing that we need to do. Go ahead and roll the bed there, John. I don't understand it. That's my question.
Yeah.
So we'll see. If NASCAR finally figures this out and gets things set up and ready to go, we'll find out. The good thing is that NASCAR tends to fix these things if enough people make noise.
Get loud.
Get loud about it.
Get loud.
We'll talk Chase Elliott. We'll talk Beard Motorsports helping a driver get a milestone coming up. Welcome back into CRN. We appreciate you joining us here as we are on Talk 99.5, talk995.com, our new flagship station, and also on Real Talk 99.5 YouTube TV or on CRN Live on YouTube as well. Plenty of places where you can catch us. Thank you for joining us. Phone lines are open, 205-545-9950. If you want to call in, have anything to comment about, we would love to talk to you. Talking about the Cup Series right now, and Chase Elliott stole a lot of headlines last week, got the win last weekend at Martinsville, which in some ways probably shouldn't come as a shock because it's Martinsville and it's Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, it's definitely not a shock.
No. But in there, Denny Hamlin made a headline himself, claiming his 49th career pole for that race. And in that number ties in with Bobby Isaac. He is now 10th on the all-time list in the Cup Series for pole positions. Next up, and he asked about this in the post-race when he was told about having gotten to 49 and being inside the top 10. He said, how many does the next guy have? The next guy has 51. That's Ryan Newman.
I think that will probably be broken by the end of the year.
Reachable?
Definitely reachable.
Yeah. And then there's Beard Motorsports, and we don't talk about Beard Motorsports a whole lot because they run effectively a handful of races each and every year. They ran really, I think, only 6 in the last couple of years. And those are what we call the super speedway races, the Daytonas, the 2 Daytonas, the 2 Talladegas. And now that they have reset it, and if you haven't checked out the racing at Atlanta, you're missing out something with this new format and formation that they've got of that track that's now 4 years old.
Yeah.
Man, the racing has gotten really good at Atlanta. And they're running the super speedway rules like Daytona and Talladega do, so Beard picked those up as well. Well, Beard Motorsports started listening to driver Casey Mears, and that's a name that goes back a ways. And if you're into racing at all, you know the Mears name. They are all over Indianapolis. But Casey Mears ran for a very long time in the Cup Series, and he got to the point where he was approaching 500 Cup career starts, and he wanted to reach that milestone. He's currently at 495. So Beard Motorsports got to thinking about it, this part-time team, and said, you know what? We can help. So Mears is going to drive for Beard in the number 62 Chevrolet at Talladega later this month. They're going to go ahead and run the Brickyard 400 late in July, then back at Daytona in August, back at Talladega in the fall. Then they're going to run him in the season finale at Homestead, Miami. Now, keep in mind, this team's not chartered, so they're going to need to be able to get into each race on speed. But right now, that really doesn't seem to be a problem. The only one that might, and I use that term very, very carefully, is might be the Brickyard 400. Being the crown jewel race that it is, there's a whole lot of teams that tend to want to try to make it in there. But a full field is 40.
They have an affiliation with Richard Childress Racing, and they help prepare that car. So I
don't think
seriously doubt it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, but to me, the bigger question is, how many of those races that I just mentioned, either Talladegas, the Brickyard, like I said, I think that's the most obvious one, Homestead, Miami, or the regular season finale at Daytona, how many of those are we going to see even 40 entries, much less more than 40 trying to get into the race?
You could likely see Talladega's typically 38 or 39.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah. Daytona, much the same.
Daytona, sometimes there'll be another car come out of the woodworks for Daytona, so that's possibly 39 to 40. I don't think he'll have a problem.
Yeah. So, congratulations to him. 500 starts by the end of the year. Way to go, Casey Mears. Who's he going to get backing by? It's a group called the Gracie Foundation. The Gracie Foundation is very close to the Germain family, Bob and his family. That name might sound familiar if you're a longtime fan of the Cup Series. The Germain Racing Team, which is the team that Casey Mears drove many years for in, what was it, the number 13, the Geico-sponsored entry
13,
for many years.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's where he got most of his starts. And Bob just passed away not that long ago. So I hate to hear that. But, yeah, they're still heavily involved in racing and very happy to back him with the Gracie Foundation on those races. So congratulations. To the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, we mentioned that Daniel Dye's situation in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series with AM Racing might give him a few more starts. Then again, maybe not. because one team is missing from today's race at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Rockingham run. That is AM Racing. They had plans to sell all their assets to a company called Sigma Performance Services this off-season, but the deal was missing some details. It's fallen apart, at least for the time being, although both sides have said, yeah, we'd like to get this job done, and we'd like to go ahead and make it happen. Well, for reasons that we can't understand, and I don't know whether it's Nick Sanchez's just bad luck, but they've withdrawn the number 25 Ford Mustang, the car that was supposed to be the full-time car, from today's race, and it left Nick Sanchez basically standing out on the curb going, what happened? What did I do? Was it me? Was it something I said? No, it really wasn't. He's not the only one either. The team mentioned fielding a part-time second car for Daniel Dye for a few races. They just suddenly decided to back out. They didn't release a statement. They didn't say why. I haven't found out why they decided to pull out.
I don't know either. It surfaced on social media, on an AM Racing social media post from a crew member that said it was just a minor setback. They'll be back in the fold before too long. But I think that last week at Martinsville, the car that was set to go to Rockingham, Sanchez absolutely junked that car. So I think they were short a car.
Could be. This gives them time to build something or at least refurbish something that's not terrifically damaged.
Yeah, true. But it's absolutely astonishing. That's the nice way of putting it. It's astonishing to think that there is only one Ford Mustang in the field today.
Yeah.
For the North Carolina Education Lottery 250.
And which is, so relatively close to the home base of what, 99% of all NASCAR teams, regardless of what level they're at.
Yep.
They're all basically located within relative driving distance of Charlotte. And Rockingham Speedway ain't that far. That's a couple hours, right? As I remember us doing that trip.
About an hour.
There you go.
Yeah.
To not be prepared for Rockingham, something went really south.
Yeah, it is.
And then for Nick Sanchez, I feel for the guy because this guy claims the first ever win for Big Machine Racing last year in the number 48 car, and he's still jettisoned from the car in favor of Parker Retzlaff, or whoever it was.
Dr. Patrick
Oh, that's right. I'm
Starholi.
sorry. Yeah, wrong guy. My bad. I was thinking of Viking Motorsports.
Somebody that bought the ride.
Yeah, pretty much. So they jettison the guy who gives them their first and really only win, and he lands at AM Racing, and we think, okay, well, he's found at least a parachute, which, keeps him from crashing to the ground, and then this happens. My gosh.
It's just how the economics and the system of NASCAR is developed into.
Agreed. And
it is sad.
For better or worse, and unfortunately it's kind of for worse, major racing is a money game. Of that, there's no doubt.
As Jeff Gordon always said, if you want to be a billionaire, if you want to be a millionaire in racing, start as a billionaire.
Yeah. Or as the old saying goes, how do you make a small fortune in racing? Start with a big one.
Yep.
That's the way that it is.
Yep.
NASCAR Hall of Fame class of 2027 nominees announced last Sunday as we were out at Barber Motorsports Park.
This is tough.
This one's going to be, you and I generally place our votes on it as well, and this one's going to be interesting. New on the ballot, 2014 Cup Series champion, 60-time race winner Kevin Harvick. He's also one of less than 50 drivers to have wins in all three of NASCAR's top series. Other new names on the modern era side of the ballot are Ray Elder and Ernie Elliott. Man built some fantastic engines for Bill. Let's face it. Also on the modern era ballot, the late Greg Biffle.
That was expected.
That might be the one thing that pushes him over into there is he and his family, unfortunately, dying in that plane crash during this offseason.
Yeah, he would. That would be the one that would go in posthumously.
Yeah. The last Alabama gang member not yet in the Hall of Fame, Neil Bonnet, is back on. Tim Brewer is on. Fantastic crew chief. Let's see. Jeff Burton's back on there. Randy Dorton. We mentioned Ernie Elliott being a good engine builder. Randy Dorton. Right there.
Nine-time champion.
Randy LaJoy. Jack Sprague from the Truck Series. Pioneer ballot for those who do their main contributions that came before 1972 includes newcomers Ray Fox, Herb Nabb, along with Harry Hyde, Banjo Matthews, Larry Phillips. Landmark Award winners Alvin Hawkins, Lisa France Kennedy, Dr. Joseph Mattioli, Les Richter, and T. Wayne Robertson.
This is one of them that I've got to do some thinking on for my nominees.
Want to think about it during the break and try and give it a shot? Or are we going to take longer than that?
I can come up with it before in the break.
All right, so we're going to take this break right here. Hour number 2 is on deck. So we talked about the Hall of Fame ballot. By the way, USA Today has a Reader's Choice Awards that does involve motorsports. We'll tell you about that when we get back and kick off hour 2 on CRN right here. Stay close.
NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Welcome into hour number 2 as we get things rolling here on our first weekend on the new flagship station. We appreciate Talk 99.5 and Cumulus Media Birmingham for putting up with us.
Absolutely.
And allowing us this time here. And also Cat and Bird Winery, Siluria Brewing Company for being great sponsors. And if you would like to sponsor the show, There's a couple of ways you can let us know. You can email us, team@crnradio.us, and we'll get right back to you as soon as we can. Or you can call us up here, 205-545-9950, and John Bird, who is capably holding things down over there, he'll grab all of your information, and we will contact you back ASAP. So thank you very much. Or if you just want to call and chat with us, we would appreciate that too. Love it.
Lines are open.
All right, so let's go back to that Hall of Fame ballot thing here. All right. So class was announced last Sunday, if you just joined the show here in the 9 o'clock hour. 60 race winner, 2014 Cup Series champion Kevin Harvick, one of less than 50 drivers to have wins in all three of NASCAR's top series. He's new on the ballot. Also joining him as either first-timers or they're back after a while of being off, Ray Elder, Ernie Elliott, Greg Biffle, Alabama Gang member Neil Bonnet, Tim Brewer, Jeff Burton, Randy Dorton, Randy LaJoie, Jack Sprague. Is there an automatic here?
There is a glaring automatic.
Is it Harvick?
It's Harvick.
And I figured that's where you were going to go.
The glaring automatic to me is Harvick.
Okay, so this is the modern side. Only two can go. And if that means he's automatic, you've only got one. And the emotional choice, as we mentioned before the break, is Greg Biffle because of the way that he and his family died in that plane crash in the, what was it, early December?
December, yep.
That's hard, but at the same point in time, is he the most deserving to go into the Hall at this time? Because I think about the resume of Jack Sprague in the Truck Series. I think about Jeff Burton, and I can put my personal experience with him aside and think to myself, yeah, he's probably worthy of being in the Hall of Fame at some point. I think about Ray Elder. I think about Tim Brewer. I think about Randy Dorton and what they did either as crew chiefs or engine builders, and it's impressive as heck. So where are you going with the second choice? Because I'll be real honest with you, I'm not sure where I'm going. And by the way, I buried the fact that the last Alabama Gang member that still hasn't been inducted into the Hall is on this ballot in Neil Bonnet.
I'm probably going to surprise a lot of people here with what I'm about to say.
All right.
You set the precedent for someone like Jack Sprague in Ron Hornaday being in.
Absolutely.
Jack Sprague, the first three-time champion. Checks that box.
Yeah.
Randy LaJoie, multi-time Busch Series champion.
Yeah.
You check the box.
Jeff Burton doesn't have a title to his name.
The one on this list that would be at the bottom right now for me is Jeff Burton.
Below even crew chiefs and engine builders.
Yes.
Okay. And you put Neil Bonnet above Jeff Burton too?
Neil Bonnet is edged above Jeff Burton.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I don't disagree, but again,
this is
part of that has a personal situation where I dealt with him on a one-on-one basis, and that's another story entirely.
This is by far. It does not diminish what Greg Biffle accomplished on the racetrack.
No.
But you can't, because he in an extremely unfortunate situation lost his life with his family. You can't use that as you can't use that as a crutch to automatically launch him in. You can't. I mean, that's because that's not taken away from what he did on the racetrack.
You say you can't. I would rephrase that to say you shouldn't.
Shouldn't. Can't, shouldn't. Whichever way you want to categorize it. But out of those remaining ones, you set the precedent before with Maurice Petty. And Maurice Petty, former engine builder that built absolute, what we call in the motorsports world, bullets for Petty Enterprises.
Oh, yeah.
My second modern era person is Randy Dorton.
Okay.
Nine-time championship engine builder.
The resume is hard to argue, and his resume is arguably better than Ernie Elliott's. I swear, I look at that name, Jack Sprague, and the name Jack Sprague just stands out to me.
I'm not taking away from Jack Sprague either.
No.
Absolutely not. But
I think the one that you and I agree with is Kevin Harvick.
Harvick, yes.
He's head and shoulders above everybody on this list.
But when you have that precedent that is set with Maurice Petty, and Maurice Petty won all those championships with Petty Enterprises, and Randy Dorton has won just as many, maybe one or two more.
Okay.
And Randy Dorton's been on there long enough. It's time for it to send him in.
All right. Pioneer ballot. You can choose one from this group. Newcomers are Ray Fox and Herb Nabb. Harry Hyde is back. Banjo Matthews is back, and so is Larry Phillips.
I'm going to give the edge to Larry Phillips.
I might have gone Banjo Matthews, but I have a hard time arguing Larry Phillips.
I'm going Larry Phillips.
Okay. Landmark Award nominees. They're going to keep putting her up there until she gets in. It's Lisa France Kennedy, Alvin Hawkins, Dr. Joseph Mattioli, who founded Pocono Speedway, Les Richter, T. Wayne Robertson.
Landmark Award. I'm gonna say flip a quarter because either one of them in my book is worthy to get the award. I'm gonna say flip a quarter between Alvin Hawkins and T. Wayne Robertson.
Okay. And the fact that the Mattioli family and Dr. Joseph Mattioli built basically out of his own pocket Pocono Raceway.
Right.
And it's, for the longest time, was under control of the Mattioli family. There's something to be said for that. But I kind of agree with you. I tend to lean Alvin Hawkins. Barely.
First flagman, yep.
Barely. We'll see how it goes. Annual USA Today Reader's Choice Awards, 10 best nominations have been released in several categories. For us, we're only interested in one of them. 10 best races of the year in the United States of America. Amongst the races or series that we cover, there are, in series in alphabetical order, Indycar, which has the Acura Long Beach of Grand Prix, the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, and the obvious one, the Indy 500. In Formula One, choices include the Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix and the U.S. Grand Prix at COTA. Interesting that the race in Miami didn't make it. NASCAR races, Daytona 500, Natch. Go Bowling at the Glen makes it in there.
That was surprising.
NHRA has the U.S. Nationals in there as well. Other races that have been nominated that are of note, Bonneville Speed Weeks. It's an interesting inclusion. Chili Bowl Nationals, we talk about that noted dirt track race indoors. Pikes Peak Hill Climb makes it. And so does the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. You can place your vote for the 10 best, 10best.usatoday.com/awards/best motorsports race. Voting is open through April the 26th. The results will come out on May the 6th. This, obviously, I didn't include everything else that was in there.
I've got the list right here.
All right. Feel free. Go off the list if you want to.
The full list that you can vote for, and it's starting from the bottom to the top. The World 100.
You might have to educate some people on that.
The World 100 is a crown jewel dirt late model race that happens at Eldora Speedway in Ohio. Eldora Speedway is owned by Tony Stewart. The United States Grand Prix at COTA in Austin, Texas. Sick Week in Orlando, Florida, which I've never heard of Sick Week, but here we go.
No, that's a new one on me, too.
The SCCA National Championship runoffs that happen at Road America each fall in Wisconsin. The Rolex 24 at Daytona happens in January. The Pikes Peak Hill Climb. I can see this one. The Knoxville NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals that happens at Knoxville Speedway in Iowa. The NHRA U.S. Nationals, the Big Go in Indianapolis.
That's the crown jewel for the NHRA.
This one's a little surprising. The Motul Petite Le Mans that happens at Road Atlanta. It's on there.
Most people probably don't even know about that particular event.
Yep.
It's actually a pretty cool race, though.
Now, this one is quite surprising. The Little 500 that happens at Anderson Speedway in Indiana that runs with asphalt midget, open-wheel midgets, sprint cars. The King of the Hammers that happens in Johnson Valley, California.
Might have to let them know about that. That's an off-road race.
That's
right
an off-road race, yep.
This is kind of Jimmy Johnson making his name within that particular arena.
Yep. The Indianapolis 500, the Holly LS Fest West that happens at Las Vegas Motor Speedway each spring, the Go Bowling at the Glen, at Watkins Glen, the Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix, the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, the Daytona 500, the Chili Bowl Nationals.
Yep.
Made the list. Bonneville Speed Week and the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Of all those, the biggest show is, and probably not even arguably, the Indy 500.
Yes.
But I got to admit, I watched it last year for the first time because of just the way that timing worked out. The spectacle that F1 and Las Vegas made of that race in Vegas is impressive.
It is. It is pretty impressive, but they even got on the Reader's Choice Awards for best NASCAR track.
Oh, do they now?
They do. Voting
Okay.
ends in 23 days. Their list is Bristol Motor Speedway,
Understandable.
Charlotte Motor Speedway,
Okay.
the Phoenix Rising from the Ashes, Chicagoland Speedway.
Well, I'm going to hold my breath on that one and wait and see how good the racing is after many years away from there.
Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas.
I love the track. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sure NASCAR is a great part. I don't know as NASCAR is perfectly suited to that course.
I don't know. Darlington Raceway, Darlington, South Carolina.
I love Darlington.
Daytona
Of
International
course.
Speedway.
Shocking. Not surprised at all that that's there.
Dover Motor Speedway.
Little surprised that's there.
Question mark abound.
Yeah.
Echo Park Speedway, which is better known as the Atlanta Motor Speedway in
Right.
Atlanta.
Yep.
Homestead, Miami.
Really enjoy the racing at Homestead.
Kansas Speedway.
Kansas has been good for years.
Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Getting better.
Martinsville Speedway.
I like Martinsville. I'm not sure the racing is quite up to par yet.
Right,
And that's not because of the track. It's more due to the car.
right. Michigan International Speedway.
Okay.
New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
No.
Phoenix Raceway.
Not bad, but no.
Pocono Raceway.
No.
Richmond Raceway.
Love Richmond.
Sonoma Raceway.
Like Sonoma, like Watkins Glen more.
Watkins Glen International.
There you go.
And last but not least,
It better be there.
Talladega
Thank you
Super
very
Speedway.
much.
Yeah, it better be there.
It better be there.
I was getting close to the bottom. I was like, wait a minute here. We
Come
got
on,
a problem.
boys.
We got a problem.
So, yeah, USA Today voting is open again through April the 26th. All right, let's turn our attention to the Indy 500 because it's coming up real quick. Next month, the month of May, is going to be loaded down with all kinds of things at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They generally make a month out of it. It was weird because last weekend at Barber, I heard more than one person talking about the fact that they had moved Barber up just because of a confluence of different scheduling problems that happened this year.
Right.
And that the plans are next year to move it back. And it would kick off, in all likelihood, the month of May. And then they would go and run the Indianapolis road course. And then for the rest of the month, it's all Indy 500.
Well, to what Barber has evolved to, I don't think it would be a bad thing to be on that initial opening weekend of May to kick off the month of May because you'd be at two of the crown jewel deemed crown jewel facilities
Sure.
in IndyCar.
Yeah, but so we'll see. And the main reason I would like it to move back to that early month of May is because I'd like to go back to our own Alabama Speed Weeks where we had Talladega and Barber back to back.
True.
And usually it's Talladega leading into Barber, but we have seen it in the past few years where it did get flipped at least one year where Barber was the lead in and Talladega, I think, was the first weekend of May. But to me, it's so cool to have those two tracks only about, give or take, 40 miles apart from each other, having races on successive weekends.
Sure.
It's really a lot of fun.
If they shifted it back to the opening weekend of May, that race would fall on May the 2nd.
I'd be all right with that.
And then if they got to Indianapolis the following weekend, you would have the Sancio Grand Prix on the 9th.
And then you got
the opening
the
practice
open
weekend on the 16th,
Right.
qualifying on the 20th, and a race on the 30th.
I could deal with that.
23rd, excuse me.
Yeah, I could deal with that. I'd be all right with that.
Not a bad thing.
Well, either way, Indy 500 coming up. Right now, we're looking at 33 entries that can fill out a field, but we don't have that full number right now. And usually we do by now. We've talked about this before, but not on our new flagship radio station. We mentioned that, by the way? We're on a new flagship station.
Yes, we have.
Just asking. So quick rehash. IndyCar has adopted a Cup Series-like charter system for their teams, and they handed out 25 of them. And last year, an Italian team by the name of Prema came in, and they decided to make 27 teams full-time. But unfortunately, while they did recently well, and they even re-signed their 2 drivers in the offseason, they had the intent to continue in the series. Their parent company in Italy, they're having so many financial difficulties that despite the fact that even the IndyCar rides being sponsored, they didn't have enough money to be able to continue as an operation.
Yeah.
So they're not running this year. And apparently they've even dropped plans to do a one-off, which would mean them getting into the Indy 500. So everybody was kind of searching around going, well, who the heck's going to come in? Well, right now we have 31 confirmed entries. You got the 25 chartered cars, extra confirmed entries that are going to be fielded by Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing, Arrow McLaren Racing, Meyer Shank Racing, Ed Carpenter Racing, and as we tend to get, the Indy 500 only team Dreyer and Reinbold, they're coming in with 2.
Connor Daly's in one of those cars.
Yeah. Andretti, which has not confirmed it yet, noted last weekend at Barbara Motorsports Park that they do have some initial plans to bring Colton Herta back from his Formula 2 duties due to the races being on hold. Formula 2 playing with their schedules because of the cancellation in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. We'll get back to that here in a minute. But since Formula 2 is playing with the schedule, they actually have not been able to confirm it. And Colton Herta, who has run IndyCar the last few years, is now running Formula 2 because he has kind of shifted and he is the top planned reserve driver for the Cadillac F1 team. But they need to get him points. And to get him points, he's running Formula 2 this year.
I think he's only a handful of points away.
He's not that far away from getting that F1 super license we love to talk about so much.
Yeah, buddy.
So as we're waiting on Andretti, again, 31 confirmed, 2 more just to get to 33. Prema was asked about doing just this race. They seem not to be able to do it. Bill Abel of Abel Motorsports, very strong team in Indy Next, the top feeder series. Think they're the O'Reilly Auto Parts series equivalent for IndyCar.
Right.
They seem willing to go in for one ride. They do own a couple of IndyCar chassis. They worked with Chevrolet in the past to enter a car. They have indeed filed an application to put Bill's son, Jacob Abel, in that ride for this year's race. That would make 32. And if Andretti can cut the deal and bring Colton Herta back, there's your 33. But we don't have, at this point in time, a 34th that would create the drama of what we call bump day. And here's the deal. When it comes to the charters for IndyCar, it's a little bit different. If you have a charter in the Cup Series, you're guaranteed a starting spot from the Daytona 500 to the season finale, which this year is at Homestead, Miami, and all the races in between. There are 18 races on the schedule this year in IndyCar because they added late the DC race that's going to happen in August.
Yep.
But those charters don't hold for the Indy 500.
And that is what I think NASCAR should do for the Daytona 500.
I love it because what that means is that if you get 34 or more teams that put an entry in for the Indy 500, you get a bump day, that qualification day, because they're going to knock it down to 33. And they couldn't care less what your name is or what team you drive for or whether you got a charter. If you don't make it in on speed, charter or not, you're going home for the Indy 500. I think that's the way, like you said, NASCAR ought to do it too.
Should.
We'll find out whether or not we'll get one driver, Catherine Legg, says she's interested. Right now, no team has approached her with a ready-made ride for her to get in. So that's their problem. That's that problem.
If it was, well, Ray Hall's got their 4 because Sato's driving the 4th car for them. Ryan Hunter-Ray's driving the 4th car for Arrow McLaren. Elio's driving the 3rd car for Meyer Shank. Ed Carpenter's going to drive the 3rd car for ECR. Dreyer and Reinbold, that's not a terrible car.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll find out. John Bird, let's go ahead and roll that break. When we come back, we're going to switch gears. We'll talk Formula One here. They've got an unexpected spring break. Usually they have an August break. We talk about that each and every year. But because of things going on overseas that we talk about here on our flagship station Monday through Friday a lot, they had to cancel 2 races. We'll fill you in on all that and talk about what some of these teams might be needing to do, or drivers that need a little recovery time already, as they have, like I said, this unexpected spring break. That's next as we roll on here on this initial Talk 99.5 edition of CRN.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network.
All right, welcome back into the show. We really appreciate you checking us out here on the new flagship station. All of our longtime listeners here at Talk 99.5. They know me from doing other stuff throughout the course of the week, but Matt Nicholson may be relatively new. John Bird, you're very familiar with. I can guarantee you that. So thank you very much to everybody for putting up with us for the past.
Hopeful to become some sort of a staple here.
There you go. Exactly. We need to thank some people that help us put this show on, jumped on as early partners with us here, talked about Cat and Bird Winery last hour, Siluria Brewing Company, good friends, Danny and all the gang down there at Siluria. Man, can't thank them enough. Was just out there last night, as a matter of fact. Every Friday night, I get to host a music trivia game out there from 7 to 9 p.m. Had a great crowd last night, followed it up with karaoke. I don't host that. Jill, one of the ladies behind the bar, she hosts that. So Friday nights are always a big night out there, but there's always something going on at Siluria Brewing Company. Plus, they have a whole wide selection of homemade, really, brews that they do. Plus, they do ciders. They do a little bit of their own wine, not a whole lot. And there's more. And got TVs up there. We had on the women's Final Four game. So I actually got to watch South Carolina thump Connecticut, and then Gino Auriemma have his conniption fit. Dude, you lost. Go home.
I'm not holding my mouth right here at anything you're saying. I'm looking through some practice times this morning from ARCA, and go ahead and finish. This is absolutely hysterical.
But, yeah, we need to thank Danny Sample, everybody down there at Solari Brewing Company. Great partners with us. Great place to go if you are looking for a fun place to go. Solari Brewing Company, open at about 4 o'clock each and every afternoon, and you can find them at 145 First Avenue West in Alabaster. If you are thinking, where the heck is that? Think the old post office. They took it and have refurbished it and made it a wonderful place to go. Solari Brewing Company, thank you for being a great partner with CRN. Okay, so ARCA, not a series that we cover on a regular basis, but it is kind of a curiosity here in the fact that you got the YouTube sensation and somewhat controversial Cletus McFarland as part of this.
Yeah, and his buddy that you see doing all his videos all the time, Squirrel, also known as his government name, George Siciliano. He's in the field too.
Okay. ARCA will let anybody. They might let me in.
The ARCA cars, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a pet peeve of mine. Your single A division,
right? Yeah,
should not be faster than your AAA division.
They're faster than the Xfinity or O'Reilly Auto Parts.
They are faster than the O'Reilly Auto Parts cars. Cletus, his government name, Garrett Mitchell. He practiced 0.6 of a second quicker than he did in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series car.
Wow. Unreal.
That is unreal. And there's one thing I want to quick touch on. Apparently, I learned yesterday when I got in from work and everything and turned on the broadcast of the Truck Series race. They have remeasured Rockingham.
Oh, really?
It's not 1.017 anymore.
Okay.
Because you remember when we were at Darlington, Russell Branham, God, Russell will miss you.
Yeah.
Told us how the series, how they measure the tracks.
About 10 feet out from the wall.
Yep. Apparently, Rockingham has gotten shorter. Rockingham is now classified as 0.94. 0.94. How do you lose 0.2 of a mile?
That's not 10 feet off the wall.
No. How do you lose 0.2 of a mile?
Wow.
1.0. Excuse me, a tenth. About a tenth. 1.017 to 0.94. How?
I would be very curious to find out how they came to that.
I would love to know
explanation,
how a track gets smaller.
Explanation, anybody? Care to let us know?
I'd love to know that.
And the funny thing is Rockingham is no longer owned by anybody really technically affiliated with NASCAR. It's another entity altogether that owns Rockingham.
That is better known as the International
Hot Rod IHRA, exactly.
And it's taken on I call it that dreaded Durana green.
Yeah. So I'd be very curious to see if the NHRA would be willing to explain, because it's got to be them.
It's got to be. They
made
a mismeasurement. It's got to be.
Interesting.
But Cuddle's already painted the garage areas, got some of that painted green.
Whoa.
And the Rock logo on the wall is not red and white anymore. It is now black and green.
Okay, then.
Yep.
All right. New rules this year in Formula One. Got to talking about this. I mentioned Solaria Brewing Company last night. After we were done, had a gentleman come up. Sorry, I can't remember his name, but I do remember he was wearing a lot of Michigan out gear, so I know who he's rooting for in the NCAA tournament. But we got to talking about Max Verstappen, and that leads purposely into this. Think about it. New rules for this year in Formula One. Cars are not as wide. Cars are shorter from front to back, and the engines have changed some. The formula is still the same. It is a twin-turbo 1.6-liter V6 with a hybrid aspect, and that's the hybrid aspect that's the big change, because last year, whereas the hybrid unit was just what do you want to call it? An accentuation onto the internal combustion engine side.
Right.
This year, the F1 rules mandated effectively a 50-50 split between the engine itself and the hybrid unit. And some drivers are having a harder time adjusting to the new rules than others. It's led to, as we noted in the points, a shakeup. Mercedes, Ferrari up there at the top, teams that are having troubles. Aston Martin, despite having Honda power, they got a vibration problem that has caused major problems for them. In fact, so far between the two drivers, they've only completed one race between the two drivers. And that's Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
And he probably wasn't feeling 100% when he got done. Then there's Red Bull, four-time champion Max Verstappen. He, as we noted in the points, is trailing notably Haas F1, not only in the Constructors' Cup, but Max Verstappen is looking up at Haas F1 second-year driver Ali Behrman in the points as examples. And all of this has led Max Verstappen, who has never, by the way, been shy about sharing his opinion, to blame the car. States he's just not having fun this year, to the point where he said he's thinking about retiring at the end of the 2026 season. He was asked last weekend at the Japanese Grand Prix as to whether or not he might, as they termed it, walk away. He said, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking about everything inside this paddock. He went on to quote privately, I'm very happy. You also wait for 24 races, this time 22, but normally 24. And then you think about, is it just worth it? Do I enjoy being home more with my family, seeing my friends more when you're not enjoying your sport? Keep in mind, he got eliminated in Japan in the second round of qualifying and ended up 8th in the race. Said of that, quote, I can easily accept being P7 or P8 where I am, but I also know that you can't be dominating or be first or second or whatever, fighting for a podium every time. I'm very realistic in that, and I've been there before. I've not only just been winning in Formula One. He's right, but let's face it, he's done a lot of it since he came in. Then he finished up, said, but at the same time, when you're P7 or P8 and you're not enjoying the whole formula behind it, it doesn't feel natural to a racing driver. Of course, I try to adapt to it, but it's not nice the way that you have to race. It's really, he calls it, anti-driving. Then at one point, yeah, it's just not what I want to do. Of course, you look at it, you make a lot of money, great, but at the end of the day, it's not about money anymore because this has always been about my passion. You're the resident driver. You've dealt with rules changes, and I get it. This is much more of a massive rules change probably than you've ever personally dealt with within one series.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you go from one series to another, very different.
Yeah.
But you as the driver, you have to adapt to it.
Yeah, you have no choice but to adapt to it. I mean, and sometimes when rule changes occur, you've got to totally change your driving style to adapt because the driving style that you're used to may not suit the rules change that comes up, whatever that may be. It may not suit your driving style, so you have to adapt to it instead of trying to force it to adapt to you.
Well, let's go back to the Cletus McFarland thing for just a moment because I saw a quote yesterday and said he had kind of dropped all plans to do any kind of one-off here or there Cup Series effort because he understood. He himself said he understands he's probably out of his depth there. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is about the top level of his ability. Cup Series is a little beyond it at this point in time, so he's not going to try and pursue doing Cup anymore because the talent level is different. The cars are different. There's an adjustment for those drivers who go from O'Reilly to Cup. There's an adjustment to be made from Indy next to Indycar. There's an adjustment to be made from Formula 2 to Formula 1. Oh, yeah. And then when you change cars, Cup Series, Gen 6 to Gen 7, drivers had to adapt or you fell back.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing in Formula 1. Cars changed, you adopt or you go away.
Yeah, I think with him, he's like, wait a minute, I got my heels a little bit too far off the ground here. I got to get my heels back down. And that's being smart.
Sure. Because,
I still don't agree with him beating himself up over Daytona happening in the truck race. Because everybody knows Daytona Turn 4 can be calamity corner.
Sure. Yeah.
And what happened to him with the truck getting loose, that could have happened to anybody. The way the air works and how the drafting packages work. Trucks is notorious for doing that. Stop with beating yourself up. You're learning. All right? he has obtained, I think, a couple of asphalt late models. It's a very good thing that he's going to slow himself down, hone his racecraft, hone his learning,
Get your wheel time.
and get your wheel time
There you go.
to where you're a little bit better acclimated to everything. When you do make that step up, you have a better idea, because the way they're structured now, asphalt super late models have a horsepower level that is pretty close. It's not dead on, but it's pretty close, give or take a little bit, to what the O'Reilly Auto Parts series is.
Okay.
Now, the Craftsman Truck series and the Arkham Menard series, they have the same engine package. They're identical. They're a spec engine that's built by Elmore Motors out of Michigan. They're spec. So you got the same thing there. But in comparison to horsepower levels, even though the cars are drastically different, because super late models are way lighter than O'Reilly Auto Parts series cars are, horsepower level, they're close. So that right foot can learn a lot with the horsepower level.
All right. So let's take this back to F1 here and look at it from Max Verstappen's angle, who's gotten used to the way things were, where he won 4 championships in a row, and now they've changed the rules, and he's having a hard time adapting. There's a time where you either need to stop talking and get to driving and figure out what the problem is, why you're not meshing with the car, or go. And here's the deal. If you're a massive Formula One fan, congratulations to you. I got no problem with that. If you're a massive Max Verstappen fan, congratulations. You picked a great horse to ride, so to speak.
Swallow your pride, Buttercup, and get better.
But here's the deal. If Max Verstappen, and I'll say this, and I've said this before, take your steering wheel and go home, dude. Either fish or cut bait. Either get to figuring out this car and get back to your winning ways, or take your steering wheel and your helmet and go home. And the truth of the matter is that nobody's really going to miss you except for your most ardent fans. And that sucks to hear, but it's the truth. And it's in every single series, and it's in every single career, including this one, the one that I've chosen for 4 decades. The only my most ardent fans, all 2 of you, thank you very much, will miss me if I suddenly go away. That's just the God's honest truth.
Right.
Welcome to the world. So, Max, figure it out. I'm not the only one that's talking about this either. Former F1 driver turned noted F1 commentator Martin Brundle's thinking pretty much the same way. Recently said he should either leave series, quote, or stop talking about it. Noting that no driver is, in his own word, Martin Brundle's word, indispensable, and that Max Verstappen's constant complaining and threats to leave are becoming, as Brundle said, boring. Brundle noted this, quote, Max is very unfiltered, isn't he? He always has been. He's talked a long time about, I'm not in it for the long haul. I'm not going to be in and around my 40s. I'm thinking about it, and I think it's getting a bit boring now, what he's saying. Either go or stop talking about it. It is what it is. You got to make the most of it. Nobody's indispensable in this business. I've seen a number of amazing people come through this sport, and they're no longer with us or have moved on to do something else. The sport goes on, Brundle continued. This goes for any of us. The minute we stop, people will be talking about who does the job next. There are any number of Kimi Antonellis, Ollie Behrmans, Arvid Lindblads, all rookies over this year or last year. And Brundle said that they're out there and they would do the job incredibly well for 1% of the money Max Verstappen's making. The sport will just move on if Max decides to go. I said that as well. Again, Red Bull has an amazing driver development program. God only knows how many drivers they got in their pipeline.
A ton.
Are they as talented as Max Verstappen? Yeah, maybe not. But are they good? Good enough to make it in Formula One and take a good car and put it in victory lane or on the podium? Finish with the top 3? Yeah.
I would go drive that car for a 0.5% of what he makes.
He's what is his salary from Red Bull? It's like $55 million in US dollars?
Yeah.
Think about that. The man's getting paid $55 million for 1 year of driving a car at a really fast rate of speed, but still. Yeah. These 2 people right here, and probably any number of people listening or watching on YouTube, whichever channel you're watching it on, would probably say the exact same thing. Yeah, I'll do it for half of 1%.
$55 million. You divide that by 24 races. That comes out to be $2,291,667 per race.
You pay me that for the entire year, I'm a happy guy.
Pay me that for the entire year, I will go get my fire suit and helmet out of the closet right now. That is FIA certified.
So here's the deal, Max. Again, fish or cut bait. Figure it out or go ahead and go. It's your call, okay?
Yep.
It's your call. If you really love Formula One, you'll figure it out and you'll adapt to this car.
Oh, yeah.
Because those rules aren't changing.
No.
That's the key. Those rules, they're not changing. So you're either going to have to adapt the car or you're going to have to get out. And that's your call. John Bird, let's go ahead and roll. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Ollie Behrman because he took a big hit last weekend. We'll also talk about something that we talked about on the Cross Flags podcast some weeks ago in the fact that Cadillac, they're going to have to do something. We've got an idea. I've got an idea anyway of what it is that they need to do. That's coming up after our final break of this edition of CRN.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back. And back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
All right, welcome back in here. We'll see how much we can get done here in the last few minutes of today's episode. And thank you for joining us here in this debut for us on Talk 99.5. Formula One off for the month of April after having canceled the scheduled races in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. It's good news for Ollie Behrman. Something we mentioned when we introduced this show on Wednesday of this week. He suffered a major crash in Japan. 50G hit when he slammed into a retaining wall only had a tire barrier.
Oof.
Fully on its side of the car.
Flush. Yep.
Flush.
Flush.
Not the only big wreck of the weekend. Scott McLaughlin at Indycar in a practice session on Saturday morning dipped a tire off going down the front stretch right as he was getting ready to go into turn one, just overdid it, lost control of the car. It spun around 180 degrees and backed into the catch fence, luckily missing any of the poles. But suddenly what the chain link fence became was a big net.
Yeah, and when it landed in the grove of bushes right behind the catch fence.
Yeah, not as bad a hit for him. This one for Ollie Behrman was bad. I mean, he was seen noticeably limping getting out of the car. Usually the drivers, they end up walking back or getting a ride back to the paddock. In this case, he just laid down on the ground. They got the safety medical car to come out there, pick him up, and take him back.
Right.
And he was checked out, and luckily didn't have any permanent damage, didn't break a leg or anything. He was hurting. He had a massive bone bruise. So he's got time to recover. There's also good news for Cadillac as they continue, as we talked about, to work with Honda to solve that vibration problem. It's affecting the car to the extent that in the 3 races run so far this season, the 2 drivers have only finished 1 race between the 2 of them, and that was Fernando Alonso in Japan. Then there's Cadillac. And we've talked about Cadillac ever since they announced this whole deal with Andretti, which turned into TWG Motorsports, and then Cadillac has to come on to finally kind of force the other Formula One teams to go, okay, yeah, you're serious about it. We'll let you in to our nice little club. Well, Cadillac has not come out of the gates well. Just put it that way.
That's an understatement.
Yes, they're outperforming Aston Martin, but I think Matt and I could maybe start a team that could outperform Aston Martin now. They are looking to figure out what the situation is here, which is we're not hearing of a vibration problem. We're not hearing of a technical problem with the Ferrari power plants that they're using right now while they're waiting for the Cadillac power plant to come 28, probably more 2029.
Yeah.
So something's off in the car. Somewhere.
I think it's more of a suspension and driveline issue.
Yeah, because I don't think that it's the drivers. No. Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez, they're both very good to excellent drivers in Formula One who can actually probably tell them better than we can what's wrong with the car.
Oh, yeah.
You have a month. We spent an entire Cross Flags episode a couple of weeks ago talking about this. You got a month, and you got a massive facility in Charlotte, North Carolina, Concord, North Carolina, technically, not that far away from Charlotte Motor Speedway, the GM Technical Center, this massive building that goes for, it seems like forever, behind several of Rick Hendrick's dealerships that are along Bruton Smith Parkway. Get over there, spend the entire month of April going through every aspect of this car to figure out what's going on with this car, and then bring a massive upgrade to Miami in the early part of May. This is your opportunity.
Something.
Got to do something.
Got to do something for sure.
With the cancellation of those F1 weekends in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia because of what's going on in Iran right now, and they were worried that Iran might take the opportunity to throw some drones at a very, very large spectacle like a Formula One race. This all creates a ripple effect. Support Series Formula 2, Formula One Academy, the all-female series that the FIA is they're saying is on the same level as Formula 4. In the case of the F1 Academy, the cancellation of the Saudi race gives them a 2-for-1 swap. They're going to add 2 races to the 2026 schedule. With the Saudi race gone, that was the one that they were going to run. They weren't going to run in Bahrain. It was determined the F1 Academy will come to North America to run in Montreal, Canada, along with the Canadian Grand Prix in late May. That's going to happen on the Memorial Day weekend. Usually it had been Monaco in the morning and then the Indy 500 and then the Coca-Cola 600. Now we're going to see the Indy 500 kick things off, Canadian Grand Prix in the middle, and the Coca-Cola 600 wrapping up the night. F1 Academy is going to come along for them for that weekend. That'll be a doubleheader race. Then they'll come back to the United States when Formula One comes back to race at COTA in Austin, Texas. That will be a doubleheader. That was already scheduled to be a doubleheader, by the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they've actually added 2 races. Instead of single races in Montreal and COTA, they're now both double headers. And all you do is you got rid of the Saudi Arabian race. Not a bad deal.
Not bad.
F1 is gaining popularity over the past several years, more and more countries stepping up, wanting to be a part of it, either get on it or get back on the Formula One schedule. Latest to express interest, Argentina, which would mark a return if they can find a slot for them going back a long ways. Well, last time we raced in Argentina, 1998. We'll get back to that. A group from South American countries is going to be coming to the U.S. to not only take in the Miami Grand Prix in early May, they're going to meet with F1 executives to sell on the progress they're making on their Buenos Aires race course called Autodromo Oscar y Juan Galvez. Right now, not FIA Grade 1, as it needs to be to host Formula One. For example, Barber Motorsports Park, as we've talked about in the past on our show on a different station, is a Grade 2.
Yep.
But not that far from a Grade 1.
Right.
Well, they're working on this to bring it back to Grade 1. They are right now slated to host the MotoGP World Championship race to kick off the 2027 season. That's phase 1, proof of concept, basically. Among the plans are to make the course a little bit longer for Formula One to run on, about 3 miles long. Work on that extra section coming after they plan to finish the MotoGP course. But now the word is they're doing all the work basically all at the same time, all in one phase. They want to be and show the FIA and Formula One officials that they're very serious about hosting this F1 race sooner rather than later. They've got eyes on joining the schedule as soon as 2028. I saw somebody say, maybe next year. Don't believe everything you see on social media, folks. Argentina's hosted Formula One before 3 different times, actually. The first time from 1953 through 1960. They rejoined the schedule in 1970, ran through 1981, and then did a short stint from 1995 to 1998. Now, here's kind of the limitation. There's something called a Concorde Agreement. The reason it's called that is because it was actually signed on the old Concorde jet. Remember those kids? Ask your grandparents. And it was signed between Formula One officials, the FIA, and the teams at that time. And it has just been kind of altered to mix and match the times over the course of the years that this thing has gone on. But over that Concorde Agreement, they have said that Formula One can only schedule 24 races in a season maximum. They're currently right up against that, even though they had to cancel 2 races this year. Thing is, there are a number of race contracts that are set to come to an end here very, very soon, leaving Argentinian officials hope that 2028 is less wish, more realistic.
Right.
We'll see. And I think it would be a good thing. You think about it. We got 3 races here in the United States alone, 4 races in North America, only 1 in South America. And there are a heck of a lot more drivers that have come out of South America than have North America to run in Formula One.
Yep.
So I think it'd be a great thing to have at least 2 races in South America.
This is intriguing.
All right, what do you got?
When you were talking about the F1 Academy,
yeah,
I pulled up the roster of drivers for 2026, and the teams are not very the common F1 partner teams that you think of. You got Ferrari,
yeah.
You got Red Bull, American Express has a team.
Okay.
You got McLaren. You got McLaren Octagon.
Interesting.
You got Audi. You have a team, Lego. Lego.
Okay.
Don't know about that one.
I don't either.
All right, you got Williams. Haas has got their little 16-year-old driving for them, Kaylee Countryman. Gatorade has a team.
Okay.
Aston Martin. Tag Heuer, they got a team.
Interesting to know.
Sephora.
Wow. Okay.
Sephora has a team operated with Prima Racing.
I imagine Sephora is probably footing most of the bill on that.
Yeah, for sure. Alpine, Mercedes. Racing Bulls has their team. And this one is an eyebrow raiser to me. Puma has a team.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
they make race suits. Why not?
They make really good race suits.
Yeah. All right, let's talk 2 more things here before time runs out on us. Work on the new track for Saudi Arabian Grand Prix does continue. This one's going to be in the metropolitan area of Qiddiya. It promises to be like no other track that F1 or, for that matter, any other series ever races on. It's called the Qiddiya Speed Park. The main part about this that has people's attention is a raised portion of the track. What do I mean by that? These guys are going to be up 20 stories in the air, and they're calling this turn 1, I think, the Blade. Overall plans for the course, again, the Qiddiya Speed Park, 21 turns over a reported length that's longer than the current longest F1 course, which is Spa-Francorchamps in Denmark, 4.32 miles long. Construction started in 2024. They're expected to host their first race for the first time in 2028. I keep looking at the plans on this and the drawings on this, and I'm like, this is going to be the strangest race to watch. And it probably will happen under the lights at night.
Extremely.
And then there's that Reborn IROC series presented by Chevrolet under the ownership of former Cup Series championship-winning crew chief Ray Evernham. They're in action this coming week, Concord, North Carolina, just across the street from Charlotte Motor Speedway at a place called 1010s Motor Club. It will be a race. All the old IROC cars, dating from the first year of 1975 all the way to the final actual year of 2006, before Evernham bought the rights. He's gotten a whole bunch of these old cars together, getting a whole bunch of retired drivers from NASCAR, the likes of Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin, and Ken Schrader. From sports cars, Scott Pruitt, Max Pappas, Tommy Kendall, Tommy Dreese, and others. The latest to be added, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Everything from the cars from the Chevrolet Camaros of the 70s and the 80s to the Porsche 911s, the Dodge Avengers, and the Pontiac Firebird Trans Ams. You can check it out on racingamerica.com on Friday, April the 10th, starting just after 1 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Central. Again, you can check out all the action on racingamerica.com. We'll talk about it more next week on the show as well. Thank you very much for checking us out. We'll be back again to do it next week. Same bat time, same bat channel or channels. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to John Bird, producer John Myers, and everybody else, and especially from Matt and I to you. Thank you. And we'll talk to you soon right here on CRN.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.